God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you will be on every animal of the earth, and on every bird of the sky. Everything that the ground teems with, and all the fish of the sea are delivered into your hand. Every moving thing that lives will be food for you. As the green herb, I have given everything to you. But flesh with the life of it, the blood of it, you shall not eat. I will surely require your blood of your lives. At the hand of every animal I will require it. At the hand of man, even at the hand of every man's brother, I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man will his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. Be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply in it. God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, As for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every animal of the earth with you. Of all that go out of the ark, even every animal of the earth, I will establish my covenant with you. Neither will all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither will there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be for a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. It will happen, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow will be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters will no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow will be in the cloud. I will look at it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and got drunk. He was uncovered within his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth took a garment, and laid it on both their shoulders, went in backwards, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were backwards, and they didn't see their father's nakedness. Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his youngest son had done to him. He said, Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants will he be to his brothers. He said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. God enlarged Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. Let Canaan be his servant. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. All the days of Noah were 950 years. Then he died. Now this is the history of the generations of the sons of Noah, and of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Of these were the isles of the nations divided in their lands, every one after his language, after their families in their nations. The sons of Ham: Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabtika. The sons of Rama: Sheba and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. Out of that land he went forth into Assyria, and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Calah. The same is the great city. Mizraim became the father of Ludum, Anamim, Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, which the Philistines descended from, and Caphtorim. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. Afterward the families of the Canaanites were spread abroad. The border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as you go toward Gerar to Gaza, as you go toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim to Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their languages, in their lands, in their nations. To Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, to him also were born children. The sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah. Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazmarpheth, Jerah, Hadoram, Usal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Their dwelling was from Misha, as you go toward Sephar, the mountain of the east. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their languages, in their lands, after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations in their nations. Of these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech. It happened, as they traveled east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they lived there. They said one to another, "Come, let's make brick, and burn them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let's build us a city and a tower, whose top reaches to the sky, and let's make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad on the surface of the whole earth." The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. The Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is what they begin to do. Now nothing will be withheld from them which they intend to do. Come, let's go down, and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there on the surface of all the earth. They stopped building the city. Therefore the name of it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of all the earth there. From there the Lord scattered them abroad on the surface of all the earth. This is the history of the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. Shem lived after he became the father of Arpachshad 500 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Arpachshad lived 35 years, and became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived after he became the father of Shelah 403 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Shelah lived 30 years, and became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived after he became the father of Eber 403 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Eber lived 34 years, and became the father of Peleg. Eber lived after he became the father of Peleg 430 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years, and became the father of Reu. Peleg lived after he became the father of Reu 209 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Reu lived 32 years, and became the father of Serug. Reu lived after he became the father of Serug 207 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Serug lived 30 years, and became the father of Nahor. Serug lived after he became the father of Nahor 200 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Nahor lived 29 years, and became the father of Terah. Nahor lived after he became the father of Terah 119 years, and became the father of sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years, and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now this is the history of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Iscah. Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took Abram his son, Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. They went forth from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. They came to Haran and lived there. The days of Terah were 205 years. Terah died in Haran. Now the Lord said to Abram, Get out of your country, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great. You will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. In you will all the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram went as the Lord had spoken to him. Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife, Lot his brother's son, all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls who they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. The Canaanite was then in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your seed. He built an altar there to the Lord who appeared to him. He left from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord, and called on the name of the Lord. Abram traveled, going on still toward the south. There was a famine in the land. Abram went down into Egypt to live as a foreigner there, for the famine was sore in the land. It happened, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said to Sarai his wife, See now, I know that you are a beautiful woman to look on. It will happen, when the Egyptians will see you, that they will say, This is his wife. They will kill me, but they will save you alive. Please say that you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that my soul may live because of you. It happened that when Abram had come into Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. He dealt well with Abram for her sake. He had sheep and oxen and male donkeys, and men servants and maid servants and female donkeys and camels. The Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now, therefore, see your wife, take her and go your way. Pharaoh gave men charge concerning him, and they brought him on the way and his wife and all that he had. Abram went up out of Egypt, he, his wife, all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. He went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. The land was not able to bear them, that they might live together, for their substance was great, so that they could not live together. There was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite lived then in the land. Abram said to Lot, Please, let there be no strife between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you go to the right hand, then I will go to the left. Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt as you go to Zoar. So Lot chose the plain of the Jordan for himself. Lot traveled east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot was separated from him, Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see I will give to you, and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then your seed may also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it to you. Abram moved his tent and came and lived by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to the Lord. It happened in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemabir, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, the same is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year Kedorlaomer came, and the kings who were with him, and struck the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Imim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir, to El Paran, which is by the wilderness. They returned and came to En Mishpat, the same is Kadesh, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that lived in Hazazon Tamar. There went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same is Zoar, and they set the battle in array against them in the valley of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against the 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell there, and those who remained fled to the mountain. They took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food, and went their way. They took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who lived in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. One who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now he lived by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his relative was taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318, and pursued as far as Dan. He divided himself against them by night, he and his servants, and struck them, and pursued them to Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also brought back his relative Lot and his goods, and the women also and the people. The king of Sodom went out to meet him, after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer, and the kings who were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, the same is the king's valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. Abram gave him 1/10 of all. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and take the goods to yourself. Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hands to the Lord God Almighty, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread, nor a shoe latchet, nor anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. After these things the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision, saying, Don't be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. your exceedingly great reward." Abram said, "Lord God, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and he who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus?" Abram said, "Behold, to me you have given no seed, and behold, one born in my house is my heir." Behold, the word of the Lord came to him, saying, "This man will not be your heir, but he who will come forth out of your own body will be your heir." The Lord brought him outside and said, "Look now toward the sky, and count the stars, if you are able to count them." He said to Abram, "So shall your seed be." He believed in the Lord, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. He said to him, "I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it." He said, "Lord God, how will I know that I will inherit it?" He said to him, "Take me a heifer 3 years old, a female goat 3 years old, a ram 3 years old, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." He took him all these and divided them in the middle, and laid each half opposite the other, but he didn't divide the birds. The birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. When the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Now terror and great darkness fell on him. He said to Abram, "Know for sure that your seed will live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them. They will afflict them 400 years. I will also judge that nation whom they will serve. Afterward they will come out with great substance. But you will go to your fathers in peace. You will be buried in a good old age. In the 4th generation they will come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full." It came to pass that, when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. In that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, "To your seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bore him no children. She had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Sarai said to Abram, "See now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. Please go in to my handmaid. It may be that I will obtain children by her." Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her handmaid, after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to Abram her husband to be his wife. He went in to Hagar, and she conceived. When she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Sarai said to Abram, "This wrong is your fault. I gave my handmaid into your bosom, and when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and you." But Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her whatever is good in your eyes." Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her face. The angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. He said, "Hagar, Sarai's handmaid, where did you come from? Where are you going?" She said, "I am fleeing from the face of my mistress Sarai." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hands." The angel of the Lord said to her, "I will greatly multiply your seed, and they will not be numbered for multitude." The angel of the Lord said to her, "Behold, you are with child, and will bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your affliction. He will be like a wild donkey among men. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. He will live opposite all of his brothers." She called the name of the Lord, who spoke to her, "You are a God who sees." For she said, "Have I even stayed alive after seeing him?" Therefore the well was called Beir Lahairoi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Hagar bore a son for Abram. Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram.